Welcome to Discovering Grayslake, a podcast dedicated to the stories and people that make our town truly unique. Join us as we sit down with local business owners, community leaders, and everyday residents to hear their tales of triumph, struggle, and everything in between. From the little-known historical gems to current events shaping our community, we'll cover it, all in an engaging and informative way. I'm your host, David Wool, and together we'll discover the heart and soul of our town, one story at a time. Today's podcast is brought to you by the lovely folks at Keller Williams North Shore West at the Sinkmars Group. Motivated not by numbers, but by helping you feel at home in our community. Jody Sinkmars and her team are committed to serving Grayslake and its neighbors with the utmost care. Call Jody today at 847-767-7358 or visit the Sinkmars Group online at sinkmarsgroup.com to get started on the path for the home you love right now. This podcast is also brought to you by the Cashmore Financial Group. Financial advice for everyday people. Turn your financial stress into financial success. Call us today, 847-231-6150. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Grayslake. Today's going to be a fun one, just so you know. I'm actually here with one of our main sponsors that you're going to hear his name all through everything, all the time. I'm here with Randy Cashmore from Cashmore Financial Group. How are you, Bubba? Can I call you Bubba?
You can call me Bubba. Good morning, Dave. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Does everybody, like, when the chamber thing, does anybody else call you Bubba, or is it just now are you all...
It's like, weird, but there's a definite group of people, like high school onward, where it's I'm Bubba. And it's, hey, yeah, I suppose if it works.
Okay, so why Bubba?
Gosh, this goes back to high school. A girl called me Bubba in front of the head football coach, Mike Kunkel, back in the day. And what'd she call you? And at practice that night, he just kept calling me Bubba, and it kind of stuck.
Right. And here I am calling you Bubba, and you're 72 years old.
72 years old, exactly, and 14 more years. Ironically enough, the nickname used to be Cush.
Cush.
I don't know if you remember, back in the 80s, Northern Bathroom Tissue had that commercial where they go, Northern's got Cush.
Cush.
Guy named Mike Paulson, buddy of mine in high school, came up to me one day, and he's giggling. He goes, you know that commercial? And I go, yeah. And he goes, that's your new nickname. And he poked me in the belly and went, Cush.
I'm going to tell you, you're in a lot better shape than you must have been then.
Well, I wasn't in bad shape then. I was in pretty good shape, but it was just that kind of stuck. And there's one or two people that on Cush. Facebook, hey, does anybody still call you Cush?
It should be Cushmore.
Cushmore.
That sounds a lot better,
Except
too.
Cashmore works better on the financial end.
True. Yes.
So.
And he is very professional, just so everybody knows, too.
Well, you know what? Life is too short. That's one thing I'll promise everybody. Same Randy, home or away.
Yep.
You know what? This whole thing, well, you got to be one way for business and this way for... No. You know what? No suits, no ties. Just nice guys.
Right. Okay. So I want to get to that because I'm going to
No worries.
So Randy and I have been friends for quite a long time. I actually told a story on an episode about how, we got together. So let's go. First of all, this is the Cashmore Financial Group. We're right downtown Grayslake on Center Street, which we're going to talk about location-wise in a little bit. But backstory on you, Bubba. I know that when I got out of college and I came here to DJ, like, holy cow, big fun. Randy Cashmore, he was a force to be reckoned with.
Mr. Big Fun.
Yeah. How long did you DJ for?
Oh, God. I think started, even MC and stuff in high school. So, okay. But in college, and then Mom would book some weddings when, I played football in college, so not during the fall, but in the summers, booked a couple weddings here and there. And then when I got done, I had some weddings scheduled and some different stuff. I went to school to be a teacher. And
really?
I got done, though, in, the summer.
Okay.
So all the positions were kind of filled, and I decided, God, I just made $26,000 from August to December.
Yeah.
The best teaching offer was $22,500.
Right.
So I'm like, why the hell would I want to do that?
Amen.
Amen.
And
so I coached football for 30 of the last 40 years. and I'm sort of a renegade guy. I'll get a call maybe yet this year with an opportunity, but the last 3 years we're at Harlem High School out near Rockford. That's something,
you coached at Harper, too, for a while.
I coached at Harper College for almost 20 years, I think 16 or 17 years. 41 guys went on to play in the NFL.
That's awesome.
That's a bummer. I know we're here to talk about other things,
right.
Harper, junior college football in general was a great place. I mean, some of your best athletes that didn't have the grades or got injured their senior year. So there was some serious talent that came through there. And it was a boatload of fun.
It was almost big fun.
Almost big fun.
Right.
And they, all the schools canceled it, and in a day and age when you think, and that really hurt the city kids.
Yeah.
Somebody that, didn't grow up and football was their ticket out. And so there were 8 schools at one point.
Yeah.
That's 800 kids that lost that opportunity for a second chance or a chance to move on. So College of DuPage still plays football in Illinois, but they're the only one left in
Random facts.
Illinois. Yep.
Random
Sorry.
Facts. We may ask that for a trivia question for somewhere. It's the only. So okay, let's get back to. So you DJ. We're going to get through this fast because you're a legendary DJ in your company. How long?
Well, went from basically 1988 through 2002 was the last wedding I did prior to. It was for you, actually. At that point, you had bought the company.
Yeah.
And
because I was kicking your ass so bad, you had to sell to me.
Well, and I also had the banquet hall, and then I went to work for Edward Jones at the time. So
you dodged that question, but yeah.
Yeah, I dodged it.
Okay.
And then I ended up. You called and said you got one more in you. Oddly enough, after 20 years, I did one last summer.
That's right. I had to lend you the equipment.
Yeah, and man, has technology changed, but everybody was like, even the boys were like, Dad, you're pretty good.
He's still got this.
You don't know the music real well anymore, but my butt was on a chair at 11 o'clock, and I never sat down. But, I mean, I was kind of dying, 57 years old, thinking I'm something I'm not right now. But
that's awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
Okay, so you said banquet hall. Mm-hmm. We're talking about Stratford banquets.
Yeah. 1992, I was DJing a wedding.
Yeah.
And the owner at the banquet facility at the time, Hank DeGrow, said the place is for sale. Well, I said, I'd like to talk with you on Monday. And
yeah.
By Wednesday, we had kind of a deal inked and money exchanged. Wow. And I walked in and I bought this banquet hall in downtown Grayslake, which was kind of a cool place. It was sort of inflation-proof because at the time, Country Squire was charging $75 a person, and I could, for the same package, charge $35.
Right.
And, which made it really good. If the economy got sluggish, hey, more people are coming my way. But it was a neat place for the community. There's nothing like that anymore here. It was a place you can go and book, different events. Yeah, I remember the Bulls championships.
Yeah.
I think I rented the room to you for $1 so it could get around the liquor license deal. And we had, the big screen and everything else. And
New Year's Day parties.
New Year's Day, those were, I kind of miss those.
Yeah, I do too.
I did those at Bertrand's in Waukegan before I bought the banquet hall with the DJ company. And then those were fun. People still go, I miss those. And it's been 15, 20 years since we've done that. It's crazy.
Okay, we're going to get back to how long you've been in Grayslake, but your transition from getting rid of the banquet hall and then going to Edward Jones, why did you want to do Edward Jones? Why did you want to start with the financial stuff?
I was having a kid. Zach was on his way.
Oh.
And I thought...
You wanted a real job?
Well, and, the banquet hall gave me the opportunity to coach and schedule different things a little bit, but now I got a kid on the way. I didn't want to miss T-ball games. I didn't want to, I wanted to be a dad.
I'm right with you.
Banquet hall, pretty much you check in Wednesday morning and you check out Sunday night.
Right.
Or Monday morning, depending on what you had. Every weekend was full of stuff.
Right.
And I could skate around when I was coaching on Saturdays. I had a pretty good staff. Great staff, actually. But I said, boy, this is going to be more difficult. So I worked with Bob Wickenkamp and Edward Jones and Lindenhurst at the time.
Yeah.
And I went to him and I said, hey, do you think I could do this? You think you'd be awesome at it? And it filled the thing. I guess he got me as a new hire at Edward Jones, and he got some trip to Germany. Huh. And I walked in and had this job where all of a sudden I got a new career.
All right, so you starting your new career, and I think we need to let everybody know, too. So when Randy said he's starting this new career, me and Bubba are having lunch about every day, right?
I thought you were my friend.
So when you came to me and told me that you're going to do this financial stuff, I told Randy there's absolutely no way that he's going to succeed in it.
And I told him, I'm going to prove you wrong.
That's right.
But he did have a point. I recognized I'm not one that's going to pick up the phone and call 100 people. Yeah. I did go out and knock on doors.
Yeah.
Maybe I was too dumb to quit, but there was a 4-year buffer there with a banquet hall.
Right.
And it was one of those things is I want to do this business differently. I didn't want to be the suit calling you, right. And I wasn't out looking for whales, which in this industry means, a gazillionaire or whatever.
Right.
I wanted to kind of be the guy for that average Joe or Jane, if you will.
I love that.
It took a little more time, but I did make it. I don't know. Maybe Dave was right. If I didn't have the banquet hall to kind of,
well, no.
balance.
Let me be very clear on why I said you wouldn't make it, and I think you touched on it, but I want to make sure our listeners know exactly why I'm saying that, because I'd been pressured by so many financial people. They would pay a visit. I'd show some interest, but they would badger me. And I'm like, Bubba, you're way too nice of a guy. It's never going to work. You're too nice.
Hence, the no suit, no tie, just a nice guy slogan came forward. But you know what? That's a sign of a true friend, though, because I wanted your opinion.
I don't think you asked for it.
No, for lack of a better expression, I about shit the bed when you told me that. But what the hell? He was honest. Couldn't let him know that, though. I had to put my poker face on.
Right, but hopefully I inspired you a little bit by telling you that you're going to fail.
I think, a year later, I'm like, see, dude, you said I wouldn't make it a year.
I know.
And you're just, no, that's true friendship there. I'm chalking that up.
Yes. So I think that's another thing that sets you apart from, everybody else in the financial world that I've had to deal with, is that, you're talking about no suit, no tie, just nice guys. Right. Because you say the average Joe. You had one campaign with just, I think, postcards or something that said you're the guy for the average Joe.
Well, I think for the first three years I stayed at Jones, and once I wouldn't owe them any money anymore, I got out. But great company. I wanted to be on my own and do this my way. But yeah, I think as soon as I was able to kind of convey, hey, I want to be a little different. I don't want to be the guy making 100 calls a day. I want to, at the end of the day, I want to be your friend almost. It's not, you've got a friend in the investment business.
Right. Well, they have to trust you.
Right. And that's one of the things on, almost every email. Thank you for your trust and faith,
Right.
Because that means more than,
Yeah. Especially if people with large amounts of money are saving for your college, your kid's college fund, or, saving for retirement. They have to trust you.
Right. And that's, people, well, how do you know? I don't know. I mean, I guess, I always chuckle. I got down on one knee to ask Kristen to marry me. I said, you could have ran. That was your choice. But how do you build that trust? How do you, you hope that you are in a situation where you're not, once in a while you run into different things. Well, you should have known that, or this or that. A lot of times people get amnesia at tax time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, why did you let me sell that? Well, we had 3 meetings and we talked about this, and it's but all of a sudden when the bill's there,
right.
But for the most part, I think I've gone for 23 years now, pretty much, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx it, unscathed as far as having any serious, I haven't had any complaints or anything, so that's a good thing too, because it's a big deal in this industry.
Oh my gosh! And I think the time I stopped by your office, the market was way down, which is obviously you're in total control of what the market does, right?
Right. Oh yeah,
But you were on the phone all day that day, I think, comforting your clients and letting them know, not to not to worry, but this is just something that happens,
Right.
and they need to roll with it. So they're getting the personal attention.
Well, and you try to, again, you want to be there, and there's also a lot of things I do on this side that most places don't, that you can control that. I mean, I'm going to sniff out somebody that doesn't have the stomach to just dump money into the market.
Right.
And there's risk questionnaires, there's risk tolerance, risk capacity things we can look at, so that people, hey, I'm not setting you up to fail.
Right.
If something scores a 75 like the S&P, and your risk questionnaire scores you at a 25, well, I know, what, there need to be good brakes on this car.
Right.
It's not rocket science, and that's, I think, where most people screw up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, market's going up, you're at the water cooler, boom, yeah, put me in, I'm good.
Right.
And it does nothing, because that's the way that works. Everybody talks about their stock because it's going up. Then you finally go in, and guess what? Boom, there's a correction or something, and you're like, oh, get me out. And that money's never coming back at that point.
Right.
So.
It's kind of like investing emotionally. Things are up that people want to buy.
And we're emotional beings, and that's addressing the emotions of it is kind of where I think we do better than anybody.
Right.
Because I'm going to be up front and say, no matter how logical you're going to claim you can be and this and that, at some point in 2008 and 2008 or 2009, over that period, market lost 53% of its value.
Yeah.
So if you had $1,000, all of a sudden you had 470.
Right.
That's hard for anybody to take. Oof,
especially if people are looking to retire then.
And it's a lot easier to, now the people that, if you're, and that's a thing you could address with people. If you're within 10 years of retirement, wise man once said, it's at low tide we find out who's swimming naked. Right?
I'm going to use that.
And it's one of those things where you're within 10 years, you may have a high risk tolerance, but your capacity for risk is diminishing. You don't have the time to make up for a 50% market loss.
Right. And you help manage that and keep an eye on things for people.
This portion of the podcast is brought to you by JDL Consulting. Jordan helps organizations find their voice, but first he listens. Jordan is a certified nonprofit board consultant with 15 years of experience in the nonprofit sector. So speaking of finding your voice, thank you again, Jordan, by the way. So if you've listened to the podcast before, this is time for the Squatch Watch. And this is where you listen to what Sasquatch says. You run over to Facebook, Instagram, and write the Sasquatch phrase of the day. I know I'm a dork, little Squatch fetish, but what are you going to do about it? So once again, this is brought to you by JDL Consulting. And the Squatch Watch phrase of the day is, it's all ball bearings these days. Yep. It's all ball bearings these days. So, run over to Facebook, run over to Instagram, and write that down. Be the first one to write it down, and I'm going to personally give you a $20 gift certificate to the Freeze in Grayslake. Yep, $20 gift certificate to the Freeze. Back to the show.
All right, I want to talk about you in Grayslake, because I think are you a chamber member?
I'm a chamber board member, executive board member. Been a member since the banquet hall days, although not super active. And the last 2 or 3 years, I've really gotten involved with that on a bunch of committees. Enjoy it. So yeah, I think since '92 when I joined when I had the banquet hall, but didn't go to.
Right.
I go to the lunch if it sounded good.
Of course.
Hey, you gotta eat.
Easy cush.
Right. Man, kush.
Okay, so you grew up in Gurnee. And then, so what year did you guys move to Grayslake, and why did you move to Grayslake?
Well, '92 I bought the banquet hall.
Okay.
And we sold our house in Gurnee in 2003.
Okay.
And I knew I kind of wanted to move here, so, because just being part of downtown and the community, it's our little snow globe, neat little place. I love Grayslake. So I moved here in 2003, but was here for about 11 years before that.
Right, in business here.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you count nights that I slept on the couch in my
You're
office
probably
at
a
the
legal
banquet
resident
hall.
of Grayslake,
Right.
yes.
So there were many nights where it's like, I ain't even coming home. I got to get up in 4 hours and clean this place. It'd been a while.
Yeah. Because your kids all went to Grayslake schools all the way through?
All kids, St. Gilbert's for Zach and Nate through 4th grade, and then Zach through 7th. Then they went over to public school district. Abby started at Woodview, is at Frederick now, and working her way up. So Abby's 10 years younger than Nate, so there was a little gap there. Same wife and everything. Just a nice guy.
Nice every 10 years.
Yep. So
that's how that happens.
Yep.
Cool. So been in Grayslake that long, and I think that you and I have shared the love of this town, because if you don't know who Randy is, once you see his photo on here, you're going to go, I've seen him walking around, because he's usually at Whitney having breakfast.
Chubby bald men are a dime a dozen, but, I like to think that I got a nice smile anyway, demeanor.
So we're standing right here. We're in your office here, right on Center Street. I don't even know what the address is here.
146.
146 Center. So the cool thing about this podcast, I don't have to travel very far.
Don't have to travel very far, and right out the back door is Tasty Freeze.
The
Freeze.
I could see.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Messed it up. The Freeze.
Forget it. I've lived here too long. It's always Tasty Freeze to me. Okay, so how long have you been in this office then?
I've been in this building for
that's right,
12 years.
Okay.
So out of the 8 or 9 spots here, I've been in 7 of them.
Nice.
I started in the smallest space and then kind of worked. The one I'm in now, lease is coming up in September, but it has a private bathroom and a back door entrance separate from the rest of the building. So that's been a pretty cool run, and now I'm going to start getting choked up a little bit because there's some news that we're probably going to share.
All right, let's hear it. No time like the present.
And between now and September, we are going to lease new space over at the Agora Co-working Building, which is kitty corner from Butera, the old Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Oh, okay. I know.
Yep. And part of it is I don't have to deal with furniture. There's a Wi-Fi's included.
That's $100 a month.
Well, 120, I think, because it's. I don't want to mention names, but the evil empire of internet service and monopoly or whatever we want to call it. And we'll be transitioning over there, but there's conference room, there's meeting room that I use quite often, and I just think to be in that spot where there's activity, because there's days if Zach's out of town or something, you're here alone, you're like, well, this is kind of a big space for And
it's kind of like this setup. It's kind of like home.
Yeah,
I'd be finding other things to do besides working.
That's by design, and that's going to be a little different there because they kind of include everything, your desks and everything. Here, I wanted people to walk into my home. Right. That was sort of the plan, so I got my reception desk doubles as a bar with,
which I'm standing at right now.
Right.
Without a drink in my hand.
Well, we can work on that. And in the, bookcases, and it's more the story. I don't put up any credentials or anything. Looking at my sign there, that's my favorite one.
This is your favorite?
It's just this wood sign that somebody put a stencil on and spray painted, and it just says, work hard and be nice to people.
Mm-hmm. That's
just kind
pretty much you.
Me.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so you're making the move. So that'll be a good thing.
Yep, it'll be over the next few months, but I'm looking forward to that. There will always be somebody there too when you walk in.
Oh, nice.
9 to 5. So if we're out of the office or something, somebody to take a message or hey, he'll be back in an hour. Right. He's eating lunch again.
Right. Yeah. What are you going to do without being able to walk downtown to all your favorite spots? Now you're going to have to get in the car to drive to go have lunch.
Yeah. It's a little bit more gas money, but
right. You should invest that money from lunch. I got a guy.
I got a guy.
I got a guy.
You better hook me up
and take care and save that. Okay. So when you said, I heard you mention the name Zach, and I know your son pretty well.
Yep.
Now, explain how you got Zach in here and what Zach's role is here.
Well, initially, about 2 years into our marriage. Oh, you're not looking for that story?
No, not the conception story. No, actually bringing him into your company, not into your household.
Zach was in school as a journalism major.
Okay.
And was out visiting some clients out in western Illinois, and on my way back when I stopped out of junior year, and he's 2:00 in the afternoon. His roommate says, yeah, he's in his bedroom. He's laying in bed. He's like, and I'm just talking with him a little bit, and I'm like, dude, there is nothing wrong if this isn't for you. Come home, take a year off, do whatever. You know what? And kind of got into the conversation, and this was pre-COVID, but he's like, Dad, I can't handle it. This isn't journalism. They're looking for people that are, going to get out and say what they want you to say, not, and he's like, it's not what I thought it was. I'm unhappy, yada, yada, yada. So he came home after that semester and got a job as a waiter and bartender at Olive Garden.
Okay.
And did that for almost a year. And it was like 6 months into it. Dad, do you think I could do what you do? I said, absolutely. It's not easy, but physically it's not going to, because he would, go in, open up in the morning at 9 a.m.
Right.
The afternoon bartender would call in. So all of a sudden you're there till 11 o'clock at night, and he's, he was 22 years old or whatever at the time. So he's like, yeah, whatever. And it started to wear on him. And as well as I do, the late nights we did for years and years.
God.
Sometimes you just want to be home in that chair with your feet up. And,
Amen.
Watching Garfield Goose or something. I don't know. But so that he kind of came to me. I had asked him at dinner, he's in high school. Hey, you think you'd ever want to, do what the old man does?
Right.
Absolutely not. I couldn't do that. And so it was kind of out of the blue, but after a year sort of getting out and going, hey, he's kind of invaluable. I need to kick him in the butt a little bit to get out and share his story with people.
Right.
But from a knowledge standpoint, like people come in with life insurance questions now, it's automatically turned over to him.
Oh.
He knows that stuff inside and out far better than I do, and I never did much of it outside of, oh, you just got married, you guys should get a term policy to cover your mortgage in case one of you dies or whatever. He is very much he's done several policies, getting kids started early at a young age at like $100 a month. I think I can talk about Abby's.
Right.
We're doing $100 a month. If she doesn't touch that till she's 65, it's over $2 million.
Wow.
And it's like, and this is can't go backwards kind of stuff. It's not variable or anything. And by the way, she has this death benefit too, or not her, because that's a bad deal. You say, well, you got a death benefit. Well, I don't want that death benefit.
I have no benefits.
My wife wants that death benefit.
Right. That's not a benefit for me.
Right. Outside of, it is the ultimate act of love.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that's kind of how things got started. It was really something I never expected.
Yeah. And first meeting Zach, I wouldn't have thought so, but I've seen the way he acts in the office here. Do you want me to go in the other office and tell him that he's not going to succeed because he's too nice of a guy?
Yeah.
And maybe just fire him up. Just say, dude, you suck.
Right.
You're never going to make it.
Dave, we're old. You might get your ass kicked.
He would kick my ass.
Dude is 6'7".
He'll slap the taste out of my mouth. That's for sure. No, but it's cool. And then you get the father and son thing here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And all these magazines and everything I pick up, we have these mailers to our house, and it's so cool to see. And you guys probably see on the podcast photos of Randy and Zach, and you can figure out which one's easier to look at.
Right. There's no doubt about it.
I'd work with Zach.
Right.
I mean,
right.
every day of the week.
He does better with the women than me.
Right. I'm sure. And speaking of that, you are married to Kristen Cashmore, who runs Bellevue Studios.
Yes, sir.
I've worked with your wife for an extremely long time in the wedding industry, and she's in this building as well.
Interestingly enough, now I'm going to tell my side of the story.
All right,
you can, bring it up with her later. But I did 2 weddings. The first one.
Oh, this is how you met her.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
you scooped her up.
And the second one, I walk in, and I always say she hit on me.
Right.
I did not, but I walk in and she goes, "Big Fun, I called you," and I'm thinking, oh, she's kind of cute, right? And the whole story was she did, and I referred her to you were busy, so I think it was Mike Kuhn actually did the party
right.
at her parents' house, and they had the in-ground pool, pretty gorgeous backyard. So, I go, yeah, I remember. How did that go? Oh, it went great, and this and that. And I'm like, I must have been giving off some pheromones or something, because the groom came up, said, hey, sit down and join us for dinner, which I usually wouldn't do.
Right.
He goes, I got you a seat next to that photographer.
Oh, nice.
So I'm sitting down eating dinner thinking, I better ask this girl out. Yeah, and I was just off a relationship that I got this wonderful golden retriever from.
Right.
And my dad always thought that was the best deal ever. He goes, you got rid of the girl and kept the dog. That's my boy. Pops was interesting, but
loved him.
So I did ask her out that night, and it went back and forth, but that's kind of how we met. It was through DJing, and she was a photographer, and
wow. And she was at Studio West at the time?
She was at Studio West for years, yeah.
That's crazy.
Was
so have you ever sent that groom a thank you note for sitting you at that table?
We invited them to the wedding.
That's
they couldn't
awesome.
make it, but we did invite them.
So you know who it is.
Oh, absolutely. The Albertsons. August of, it was 94. Kristen give you the date, but I'm within 30 days here. I can't remember the exact date. I'm going to say August 12th.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yep.
That's awesome. So without DJing, without that wedding, then you marry your beautiful wife.
Yeah.
3 kids.
3 kids. And here we are.
I know.
It's awesome.
All right, this is a good transition. Randy, we do this thing called the hot seat. I'm gonna go with the Grayslake hot seat.
I got a hunch I'm the one in the hot seat.
Yeah. You bet that.
All right.
So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. I'm going to do them really fast, and I want you to give me the fastest first answer that you think of. And remember, you can pretty much say anything. I'm just trying to keep F-bombs out of here.
I'm just thinking the biggest problem might be if something dirty comes to mind.
But that's fine. That's fine. Then we'll get to know you a little bit better, because that's what the podcast is about.
All right.
But the hot seat is brought to us by Barbecue Productions in Third Lake. Great barbecue. I don't know if you've eaten there, but
yeah, I've had my share of barbecue productions, my friend.
You sure
and
have.
It is good.
I know.
A big enjoy.
And I know he has a bunch of different locations, but my favorite one is the Third Lake one. So I encourage everybody in Grayslake, if you're looking for barbecue, go see our buddy Chris over at Barbecue Productions.
That's the closest one too.
I know, exactly. And it'd be even closer now with your new office.
That's why it's my favorite.
That's right. All right, so we're going to hammer this out. So just go with the first thing that you think of. All right? So this should be fun with you, Bubba. All right, name a celebrity that you've met.
Michael Bolton comes to mind, but I never met him. I don't know why that. I think the DJ stuff.
This is not going to work. We need to take 2. So you have to answer truthfully. How about, did I mention that?
Okay.
So I think we're sticking with Michael Bolton.
Mike Ditka.
What is your favorite book?
One I'm reading now, Celery Juice.
Nice. What do you put on pizza?
Sausage.
Nice. Do you prefer truth or a dare?
Truth.
How many times do you text a day?
Maybe 3. I'm bad at it.
Wow. Apple or Android?
Apple.
When you roll the toilet paper, does it go over or does it go under?
It goes over because that's the way they do it at the hotel. That was my decision process.
Okay, yeah. We don't need another reason.
Right.
Michael Bolton.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, you already answered this one, texting or talking.
Talking.
All right. How many days can you wear the same pair of jeans without washing them?
Oh, gosh. 4.
Okay, that's good. Are you a cat guy or a dog guy?
Dog.
Favorite season?
Fall.
How often do you shave your head?
Every day.
Really? Tell me about the second time you got arrested.
Well, let's remind me of the first time.
Were you with Michael Bolton?
Dave, you know what's coming here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? Let's tell
I had a bad experience, or a good experience, however. I ended up with an autographed photo of Ryan Sandberg from Jim Mateo was the auto guy. Mm-hmm. In the Tribune at the time. I was with his son. It was a bachelor party from Mike Kuhn. I woke up in the top of the 9th inning. I'm like, what's the score? Inebriated. Not that I'm proud of that, but I jumped over the wall where I thought it was 3 feet, and it was like 6. And
onto the field.
Onto the field, and I was running out onto the field. Long story short, $50 later, a limo ride back because everybody waited for me. They wouldn't take the money that bailed me out. The lady in the police station released me after she told me I was going to be there for 4 hours. She released me in 30 minutes. Told me I had a good singing voice.
Oh my God.
It was an experience. Don't ever do that. It's a huge. That's a bad thing to do. It was stupid, but that is the only time I got arrested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no. We're not here to talk about your arrest. I'm sorry. This is supposed to be quick answers.
Right. Well, you asked.
Are you a high five guy, a knuckles guy, or a hug guy?
Hug guy.
Favorite candy?
Oh God, Jolly Rancher.
How many times do you exercise a week?
3.
Yeah, fucking liar. Oh, sorry. Pool or ocean?
Pool.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Have you ever won an award?
Yeah.
Okay, good answer. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh God, I'm gonna say something. Amazing Grace
by Michael Bolton.
By Michael Bolton.
Your highest score in bowling ever?
297.
Would you rather live in the city or the country?
Country.
Favorite sports team?
Chicago Bears.
Oh, okay, good. Bartender, can I have a?
Oh God. Well, wait, I gotta. Coors Banquet.
Nice banquet beer. What makes you sweaty?
Just about everything. I sweat thinking about lunch, brother.
Gotcha. Okay, we're gonna stop this right here because I think gonna go down in history of maybe nothing you said was the truth on there.
No, most of what I said was. I started off with Michael Bolton. Why his name?
I don't know. Do you prefer truth or dare?
Truth.
Oh, obviously you proved that. He's a real honest guy, folks. Just see his picture here with Michael Bolton and him.
Oh, God, I'm going to have to get one now.
I will Actually, your wife can Photoshop a picture of you and Michael Bolton.
Oddly enough.
Yes.
I read somewhere. I haven't confirmed this. I think he's a financial planner.
Is he really?
It's either that or Mark Cohn.
I don't even know. There's so much content to this podcast.
Oh, geez.
I love it. Hey, what's your favorite place to eat in Grayslake? We'll go breakfast first. If you're going to have breakfast, where do you go?
Oh, breakfast. I gotta go to Whitney or Fred's.
Okay. I see you at Whitney all the time.
Yep.
Okay. For lunch, what's your go-to?
Emil's.
What do you eat there?
Pizza.
You have pizza?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were on the no-carb kind of thing.
Well, I do. Sometimes I just leave the crust and eat the toppings.
Well, me and you've done that a lot of times together.
Can I split that with you? I'll take the top half.
And Abel's we used to go to Abel's and eat that.
Abel's I missed for lunch. Abel's was my lunchtime. Well, you could go for you get your Coke and your 3 tacos and all the chips you can eat, and
I know.
$10 with tip at one point,
Yeah, we're going to go down and talk to his daughter, and we want to get some good Abel stories because I'm sure she's got some wonderful things about her dad.
He was the nicest guy too, man. That one
stung.
Yep.
Big time.
That
and being in his community, he was a staple. I mean, I still go to Abel's and I still support him.
Yep.
But I miss that guy.
Yep.
I miss his smile and his laugh and all of that. All right, for dinner in Grayslake, where do you go?
I guess I would say probably Light the Lamp or First Draft.
See, I haven't been Light the Lamp for dinner yet, so I got to make sure and go see those guys.
And I don't think they're open for lunch, so okay. I have no choice there. But there's some really interesting concoctions there. It's pretty good.
Right. So, what's your favorite thing about living in Grayslake?
Just the people, the town, the sort of Norman Rockwell feel about it. It's like I tell people it's my snow globe.
I think snow globe is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll name this episode is
Snow Globe.
Michael Bolton
Snow Globe. With guest appearance by Mark Cohn. I don't know where.
Right.
Something. Anyway.
That's too funny. Okay, so with your move, at least you're still in Grayslake. In your business, who's your favorite people to meet with? Is it somebody like getting ready to retire? Is it exciting to have somebody come in that's just starting their kids' investments? Is there something that you basically really, really love about it?
Kind of families, average Joe mentality. Retirement is sort of my forte, especially at 58 years old.
Yeah.
A lot of your buddies are
You're 58?
thinking about, I turned 58 in November.
God, when I was your age, I was 24.
Right. That's an old one, Dave.
Yeah, I know.
It's good, though, still nonetheless.
Yeah,
it's just not very truthful. Right. So you're a dare guy.
I'm a dare guy.
I dare say.
Yeah. So your retirement, that's your part that you really
retirement, and then we do, looking at some of the college planning and that sort of stuff, which might not always be 529s because there's some other options out there, and but I would say retirement is probably 75% of the focus for me.
Gotcha. What's I like random facts of things too. So I want our listeners to know one thing about you that most people don't know about Randy Cashmore.
As a football coach, I had this on my website.
All right.
Now, I've never been the head coach, but like I said, I'm sort of a renegade guy. But I am 14 wins shy of 300.
Wow.
So we've been on some pretty good teams. I did coach one year when Zach was a junior here in Grayslake, and
that's awesome.
The team went 0-9.
That didn't help your win-loss record.
No, kind of. I couldn't even get one out of there, just like one, man.
They were 0-9?
Dude, they were 0-9 his junior year.
Wow.
Zach, funny stat, was at Warren High School. We were 34-4, class of 82.
Right.
Over our 4 years. Zach's class, they won 3 games their freshman year, so I thought, okay, they'll get better.
Right.
They didn't win again until the second to last game his senior year. So Zach went 4-34.
You had the same record.
High school.
Just flip-flop.
Just flop it.
Wow.
Which is kind of what we did to Grayslake back in the day when I was at Warren.
Right.
But,
Right.
Now,
yeah, but we're not talking about that.
Well, and now, of course, Warren is, you can't even compare them. Warren's like, 4,200 kids
it's
or
a
something.
City.
Yeah, it's like, but anyways,
yes.
Long story
short.
Digress. Sorry, that was that testosterone coming out.
I feel like you're giving the Crash Davis story from Bull Durham that he's getting the minor league record for home runs, but nobody knows about it.
Right.
So now are you going to go back and coach till you get to 300 wins?
That's kind of a thing. And it's useless because usually it doesn't follow you, but that was the only losing season ever. Was that 1 year? That's kind of fun. A lot of people don't even know I coach because, the thing about driving out to Rockford the last 2 or 3 years is you sort of did business while you're in the car, the wonderful setup now where you can just hit a button and make phone calls or whatever. But that's probably a useless fact.
Since you're talking about coaching thing, I want to address this so people can get this on their radar too. Me and you are going to collaborate, and I'm going to help you get a podcast rolling.
Yep.
And ironically, the name, I think that your first one was Ask Coach Cash.
Ask Coach Cash. Yep.
Yeah.
In fact, on Instagram and on Twitter, I'm under Ask Coach Cash.
Nice. So what kind of things will you talk about on that?
Obviously investment related, but even, coaching related, maybe some more macroeconomic stuff. What does it mean? It doesn't take rocket science to figure out why there's inflation now. We just printed too damn much money, chasing too few goods. Stuff like that, more,
informational.
Right, informational more because and try to keep securities out of the equation because then I got to go through this whole compliance thing on this side.
Okay.
But just more general, friendly stuff. There may be days that we may have to do a Michael Bolton podcast.
We'll definitely do it. I'll call him too. I mean, you're good friends with him, so once you get him on the call.
Well, sure. He's popping into my head out of nowhere.
Well, he's a financial advisor. Maybe.
Or it's Mark Cohn.
It's Mark Cohn or Whitney Houston. One of the three.
Well, yeah, that'd be, well.
Yeah, we won't go there.
Just
brush
she had a wonderful voice.
She did. She was just waiting to exhale.
And thank God she wasn't a Thelma Jr.
Amen.
Not that, Thelma isn't as pretty a name as Whitney, in my opinion.
Exactly. We'll leave it there. All right, so anything you want to leave us with? Oh, I know what I want to leave us with. I want you to give me 2 people in this community that you really think I should interview, whether it's a business, whether it's somebody doing a good cause, or maybe an unsung hero in our town that people need to know more about.
I think you need to interview my wife.
Oh, for sure.
But that's selfish reasons.
Right.
Because then
plus she'd kick your ass for not
nominating. Why did he talk to you instead of me? And she doesn't really sound like that, but that's the best woman voice I got. I think interesting. I think it would be, Eileen Klausner's interesting, and she does the embroidery stuff.
I don't know her.
She's out of her home.
Yeah.
But she does a bang up job. She did my shirts and that sort of thing. She's pretty just steady Eddie. Yeah. Great person, and you call these places and they want $1,000 for this, and right. She's, very fair with the pricing and usually pretty expedient. I think it'd be cool. You're going to get more than two here now, but I think John at the Freeze.
Of course.
You gotta, that's sort of a staple.
My mom worked at the Tasty Freeze.
Yeah,
and it was her first job. Man. All the cool chicks worked at Tasty Freeze.
Your mom.
I know.
I remember running her at the grocery store, and we just have a good old time.
Can't even tell that story. Show how fun you and my mom are, anyway.
but just all the time, she's just a good person.
So Tasty Freeze.
I think the Beer Bazaar.
All right.
That's kind of a unique idea. So
I love it.
Those are my suggestions. None of them that I'm really. John lives in our neighborhood, and I know him probably the best outside of my wife.
I like to hear stories, especially like somebody who does embroidery, because businesses and people are getting stuff done. We want them to stay in Grayslake and do their business local. Mm-hmm. So if we have some, like I was going to call the show, I Got a Guy.
Yeah.
In town.
There you go.
Because that would have been fun.
Yeah, but that would count the girls out.
True.
And that's true. Half the people.
I know. Thank you for the lesson, Coach. Just ask Coach Cash.
Just saying,
Yeah.
That's why I have the struggle with the average Joe.
Right.
And I used to make it J-O instead of J-O-E.
Oh.
Because that could be like girly.
Sure.
Too. So the average human being, if you will, just doesn't pop off the marketing. So.
Right. No, I see how you changed that. Yeah. So, well, thank you, Randy, for your time. So we're at Cashmore Financial Group. Come see Randy. Come say hello to Zach. Tell them they're going to fail when you walk in and help.
Turn your financial stress into financial success.
Oh my gosh, we should have just done a slogan portion.
Radio
of this.
Randy.
Radio Randy. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
But cool. So we're here with Randy and Zach at the Cashmore Financial Group on Center Street right now, and moving over kitty corner by the across from the Butera. So thanks everybody for listening to Discovering Grayslake. I hope to hear you guys and see your feedback on everything.
Dave, look, it's Elvis.
And Elvis has left the building.